All right. Well, I'm going to set my phone in a different position this time, and we'll see if it sounds better. I'm just sitting in front of the computer. I'm just fucking your mom in front of the computer. And one of the main issues I have with that is that, the phone is like closer to my mouth, and so it's more likely to clip, which it doesn't really do if I'm just like sitting in my car or whatever. So maybe this will sound better, maybe it'll sound worse. I don't fucking know. But so workout went well tonight. And I think a lot of that is just the fact that, yeah, sodium hydration meme, fucking whatever, but like that shit is like legit, you know. And I think the reason I got 3x6 this time was just the fact that I feel like first of all, I had my carbohydrates pretty high. I don't know if you could really consider it like I called it bloat cut. I've been cutting quite a bit. I've lost a lot of weight. It might not look like it in this particular workout video, but that's because, as I said, I had my hydration on point tonight, basically. And, a lot of carbs, a lot of salt, a lot of water. I mean, you're going to be filled out, right? And I think that was it because, I mean, I've been cutting hard for a while. And when I say hard, my estimated daily expenditure is, I don't know, the average, I don't know, it could, depending on which one you look at, anywhere from 3,800 to 4,200. Let's just say 4,000. All right, well, for the longest time, I was eating maybe 2,500 a day. And I felt like I was losing weight too quickly. I was losing more strength in the gym than I should have. So I decided to bump it up actually to 3,500, which is still a deficit. I mean, it's 500 a day, give or take. So that's still, like a couple pounds a week just off the calorie math, although that doesn't necessarily correlate directly because, there's, neat variation and blah, 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 and whatever. I hadn't really gone to the gym a whole lot. Just due to the weather, and it's not necessarily that it's been that cold. It's just, I gotta get that thing, worked on. And until then, it's one of those things. It's like, I mean, I could technically drive it. It's enough of a question mark that if it's, below maybe 40 degrees outside, I probably won't risk it because, if it broke down, whatever happened, just who knows, so if it's too cold, I'm just like, whatever, not worried about it. The only thing I usually won't skip is like tonight, my heavy night for the press. And I've been hammering at, 160 pounds, 3x6 on the clean to press for like, God, a month and a half, maybe 2 months now. Like I'd say maybe 6-ish weeks at least. Maybe not that. Maybe more like a month. I've been trying it again over and over. It's one of those things, and that's kind of why I thought I was losing weight too fast. Is because it's like I hit a point with my clean to press where I just hit a brick wall, and it got like exponentially harder each time, more so than you would expect for just like a normal, I call it a progression. Technically it's not, because I had deloaded and worked up to over the course of several months. I went from 3x5 up to 3x8, but then maybe late last year when I decided I was going to cut, I was having elbow tendonitis, and I decided to reduce that down to 6 reps. It's like, well, I've never had issues with 5 reps. But now I've got all these, feelings that, they're not injuries. They don't hurt per se, but it's just like, yeah, that don't feel right, So I was like, well, let me just go up a single rep a set, So I essentially kind of double deloaded. And what I've done as a so-called progression for several months now really hasn't been, it's below what I'd been working with, but I didn't really care either. I'm just trying to cut. But I did, I didn't think I would hit a wall so quickly, but I mean, I wasn't eating much. And so the reason you might not really be able to call this video a blow cut per se, and also probably part of the reason that I actually hit 160 3x6 this time, is because for a couple weeks now I've really done a maintenance. So I've been eating about 4,000 calories a day, and then also I've been really up on the carbs. Honestly, I haven't been eating that much protein either, which, if I'm eating maintenance calories, I really don't need them, so whatever. Oh, also, I did, because I finally got it, I was like, all right, give them what they want. I know all the, chomo pill faggots and all that love to see my big, burly, beefy body fucking flexing and whatever. And I make it, is it obvious that I don't take the flexing stuff seriously? Because it's like I make it a point to make the stupidest face possible, because it's not impressing anybody. Nobody cares how much you lift. Nobody cares how big you are, really. I mean, maybe if yeah, dudes, I guess, way stronger and bigger than me, maybe people care about that, but whatever. I don't take it seriously, but I did like that I managed to get it this time, so that's cool. Now that I've done that, I think I'm just going to go back to more of a, I did a couple weeks of maintenance. I finally got that, and I think I'll just go to a deficit again. I don't know if I'll do a big one or a more moderate one. Maybe I'll just, whatever, go ham, so to speak, and just, like eat nothing but protein and, fucking 1,500 calories a day or fucking whatever. I don't know. But yeah, so playing a video game right now, playing God, can I fucking talk? Playing Soldier of Fortune 2. You might have noticed I put up that one song. It's one of my favorite songs in the game. The other one I got open right now, I was listening to it, but I paused it for a bit. It's a song called Capture the Flag. That's a good one too. And then Colombian Jungle Ridiculous. Those two, and then Prague Streets. God, I wish I could go back to, being 12 years old, because Soldier of Fortune 2 came out in 2002, but I started playing it in 2003, and so I was, I don't know, depending on what time of the year it was, I was 11 or 12 years old. Probably 12, I think. Pretty sure I was 12. As the meme goes, everything's better when you're 12. But yeah, so I've been playing this game for fucking ever. Almost since the day it came out, but not quite. But, what's the difference between 22 and 23 years, And, those songs, they're just, they're burned into my memory. And it's just, God, it really takes me back. And I fucking wish I could go back to that. You could say it was better times. It's like, life was always evil. This prison reality always fucking sucked. You were just not aware of it yet, and that's what motherfuckers are really yearning for, is just not having to know about it, But one of the things I like about Soldier of Fortune 2, and one reason I like a lot of games that I replay frequently, is I like games where it's like really easy to jump into a level and just start playing, So like with Soldier of Fortune 2, with the like Raven menu enabled, you can go to the little Raven icon and just pick a level. Or, it's like I just typed in, map shop 6, and that's the first of the, or well, no, actually it's, or wait, hold on, I typed it, right? Maybe, okay, maybe the first level is shop 5, maybe I screwed that up, yeah. Anyway, okay, yeah. So I went to shop 6, that's really my favorite level of this mission, but it's the last mission. You're like a PMC guy, and these terrorists break into your headquarters or whatever, and that's the final mission, is you go back and kill them, and kill the the bad guy who's actually, you think it's a Russian until the second to last level. And then, oh, actually, it was an American who's, a mole inside your agency or whatever bullshit, you know. But one of the things I like about Soldier of Fortune 2 is that I can just pretty much hop into a level and just play, It's like Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, just pop it open, pick a mission, boom, Or like Half-Life 2. I saw people criticize, I'm pretty sure, I think it was part of it's something that changed with the Steam Pipe update back in 2013, where used to, the chapter menu only showed the chapters you had completed. So you could start, one of the chapters you'd already done. But I believe with Steam Pipe it changed, and now all the chapters are like unlocked from the very beginning. It really doesn't matter because, even when it wasn't like that, you just, if you reinstalled it, you open it up and just, SV_ unlock chapters or, fucking whatever. But I've seen people criticize that, and it's like, no, that's awesome. Because then I could just jump to whatever fucking chapter I wanted. One of the things I don't like about some games, like Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, I mean, as far as I'm aware, unless you already have a save file, there's no way to just jump to a level. Maybe there is, I don't know, but, some games are like that where you basically have to play the fucking whole game to get the level. Like, there might be a level select, but you have to beat the level first, and so if it's a fresh save, there's a lot of games I would replay, but, if I can't do, like, Soldier Fortune, open it up, console, type in whatever, boom, and so I'm, in the fucking, like, watch, I'll go to Prague 6. That's why I uploaded that song, because DM_, PRA1 or whatever, it's the multiplayer theme for the Prague level. I think it's called Prague Streets, which is probably where the name came from, but, yeah, the Prague mission, the first mission in the game, I always like just messing around in that. And so Prague 6, is the last part. That's where you get to the train station and you gotta sneak the guy on the train. They call him Ivanovich, and I don't know why, because that's a patronym. Shouldn't it be like Ivanov or something? Whatever. Stab this guy in the balls. Yeah, I always do this stupid shit where, so the guy you meet at the train station that gives you the ID, and then the guy you're saving, if you cut him, like, in the crotch 3 times, it makes him do this stupid limping animation that I just always think is hilarious. So, like, on levels that have cutscenes, I'll, like, no clip to the cutscene area and do that. So whenever they're walking around, they're just, like, hobbling, or, I don't know. I'm a fucking idiot, so whatever. Penis balls, fucking whatever. I'm standing in front of this guy, and he doesn't seem to care that I'm holding a knife. Now he doesn't seem to care that I'm holding an AK. So I could turn no target off, and he still doesn't care. Yeah, the game doesn't expect you to have those weapons here, so that's probably why. But this is one of those levels I'll just kind of fuck around, and that's what I like, old school games. You just hop in a level and just dick around, it's whatever. But, that multiplayer song that I uploaded it twice. It's the same song in both, but one of them I made the video, a crop out of the, the original box art, and then another upload that has the box art for the gold edition, which is just the same game, but the multiplayer updates, right? So that's what I had back in the day, right? Although the reason I did both is for 2 reasons. First of all, I just wanted both there, just because of how they look. But also because when I played the game originally, and I still got it somewhere, I got just the straight up disc release. And then they released a gold edition that had the multiplayer patches that had, the Silver Talon, the MP5, and the SG551 to the multiplayer. I don't actually remember. I feel like the RPG 7 was added as multiplayer. I don't really remember, because you can see RPGs in some of the single player levels, but I don't actually remember if you can, like, ever get it by default. I don't know. It's kind of confused, because if you use the give all cheat, you'll have all the weapons, including the multiplayer ones. And the original game doesn't expect you to have those outside of multiplayer, so I could do it right now. So if I take, you can drop weapons in this game, so I can drop the M4 on the ground. Who cares? Drop the, come on, drop the AK-74 on the ground. Who gives a shit? Let's see. Drop the OICW. Nobody ever uses that. Fuck it. But then if I go to drop the SG-551, it'll probably crash. Yeah, there you go. Just crash the game. That's cool. Whatever. I did that on purpose. It's a feature, not a bug. But yeah. But it's an old ass game. It's so fast to just jump into, right? Having an SSD helps. I remember I first got an SSD in like 2015 or some bullshit. One of those Intel 730. I had a couple of those. My first X has the original still, or well, I mean, it's probably fucking threw it away a long fucking time ago, probably. So he don't fucking appreciate anything because he's a fucking human, one of these fucking human faggots, piece of shit. But let's see what level was. Let's see, I'm going to go to the motherfucking hotel. But yeah, so even though, so I played the gold edition, but like what for me it was like I had the original disc release, so I remember that box art, but then I remember the gold edition box art. But in my specific case, I had, they released a version that like had the patch already included, but because I had the original release, you just back in the day, motherfucking File Planet or whatever, and just download the gold edition patch, whatever. And dude, Soldier of Fortune 2 multiplayer back in the day was fucking legit. And I used to get fucking kicked from servers all the time because, to put it in perspective, this was 2003, and at first, for 2003, I was still on dial-up. So I would get kicked from servers because my ping would be over like 400 or whatever. But that's the difference. Like back then, motherfuckers were still expected to have dial-up or like, DSL. So their connections would still kind of suck. So the threshold was, higher. Nowadays, you could go on 1.6, but like there's certain servers I can't play on, particularly German and French servers, because they'll kick you for your ping being over fucking, it's like 120 or something like that on most of them, or maybe it's 100. And I'm not making 100 milliseconds to these, fucking German or French servers or whatever, which sucks because a lot of times, like, I'm awake on European hours pretty much, or like, mildly proper British hours or fucking whatever, IRA hours. And so a lot of times, like, there won't be any motherfucking servers except some like fucking French or German fucks. And then, you jump in the server and they start getting mad because your ping is high or whatever. By the way, I don't know if you retards understand this, but this idea that if somebody in the server has a high latency, it like makes the game worse for you or what? That's bullshit. That's not how server. It's not how lag prediction or compensation or whatever. It doesn't work that way. Idiots. They don't get it. They think somebody. It doesn't matter. I don't know how else to say that. But yeah, so you'll go in and they'll fucking go sacre bleu, or fucking scheisse, fucking whatever, and get mad, and you'll get, oh, your ping's too high, right? Warning 2, your ping's too high. It's like, dude, it's like 110. Who cares? And it's like, nope, fuck you. So whatever. But yeah, back in the day, that's like you would get that response for 400, and now it's like, if it were 140. And it's just whatever. Wait, what the fuck? Oh, okay. I don't know. But Soldier of Fortune 2 multiplayer back in the day was, like I said, I don't know, maybe it was because I was 12. I don't know. But that shit was amazing. And I don't know. I wish. And dude, that was the thing. It's like Soldier of Fortune 2 multiplayer lasted for fucking ever. Right? Like there were for years and years, even like not like up to not that long ago, there'd be hundreds of players. I mean, now it's dead, but I mean, the game lasted for fucking 2 decades, having a very highly active multiplayer. I mean, that's fucking impressive, or it should be. If you're not gay and retarded, or maybe even if you are, I don't know. I'm sitting here. I look to my second monitor to the left here, and I can see Elliot Rodger walking around being the cutest sweetie pie on earth. I wish I were fucking him in his butthole right now. Putting my penis in that doo-doo hole. Whatever. But that's how this prison reality is. It has to murder anybody worth looking at. Honestly, I don't get it. He's like walking around in this video, and he's like, this world is so beautiful. And it's like, I mean, I just see a bunch of like dirt and sticks, It's like he's the only thing there worth looking at. Whatever. I mean, I get what he's saying, but it's like, yeah, like nature would be cool if humans didn't exist, but that's the problem. Like they just ruin everything and make fucking life just, it's just fucking useless. I said, fuck this world and fuck humans. They just need all fucking go extinct. I'm still wondering when this fucking nuclear whatever bullshit is supposed to happen. This motherfuckers always talk about that. Oh my god, nuclear war. It's like, you promise? I hope so. Dude, fucking like post-apocalypse, right? Stalker, like for real or whatever, I mean, that kind of already happened, right? I remember when I was, 15 or 16 in 2007 when Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl came out. And like the military and a bunch of motherfuckers like having a war at fucking, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant was fiction. And it's like, now they did it for real, and it's, I don't know, it's kind of nuts to see like modern day Ukraine basically turned into a level from a video game. I don't know. It's, like I said, this world can just go to hell. It should have happened already, but of course it never will. There needs to be about, like 100,000 fucking meteors or whatever it was, like burned up over fucking Chelyabinsk in like 2011. Needs to be about 100,000 of those slam into the fucking like earth, like landmass, right? Not like fucking land in the fucking water bullshit like that, but like actually hit the fucking, ground and make sure it lands on these stupid fucking humans. Because, dude, like a post-apocalypse would be a fucking cakewalk, right? That shit would be easy. Like humans are what fuck everything up, and of course the state terrorism shit. I don't know how much I'm going to get into that. But, I just always think it's hilarious when I see motherfuckers saying, oh, without rule of law. And it's right, so you mean without criminals running wild, right? The state, whatever. Like I said, sure motherfuckers are expecting me to say that shit. But, yeah, law is criminality. So without rule of law, first of all, you can't rule anybody. You can only terrorize them into, accepting the oppression. So without rule of law, so to speak, would be like a fucking paradise. That like the state terrorism paradigm going the fuck away, that would be the closest you're ever going to get to a fucking utopia on this piece of shit planet, as long as humans exist. Yeah, it would still suck, but at least you could, get away from it to some degree, right? I don't know. Tired of this fucking prison reality. Yeah, so, yeah, like Elliot, I understand what he means. Yeah, the world is beautiful. Yeah, you look at the fucking, like, landscape or whatever, but human existence actually just makes it all a fucking prison, right? It's like he's like, one video is like looking at the fucking ocean or fucking whatever. It's like, oh, the view is so beautiful. It's like, you know, like that fucking shoreline or whatever, that's just a fence around a prison, you know. That's just, that water is just showing you all the places you can't fucking go, right? Because it's like, you know, don't you just love it when motherfuckers, you know, like you criticize the state terrorism and they want to be like, oh, go somewhere else then. It's like, where the fuck are you going to go? They already fucking took over everything. What am I supposed to go out? Was it 200 kilometers into the fucking ocean? And that's supposed to be like, you know, like on whatever or whatever. Yeah, I guess I gotta go do Waterworld, right? Like, it's on me to react to the state terrorism and not the state terrorism to just fuck off. You know, said I'm so tired of the state apologists and fucking whatever. Technological psychosis. That was the thing. Part of me playing Soldier of Fortune 2 and all that back in the day. When I was 12 years old, I was in love with computers. Like I said, I started working on them for cash money when I was 14. Right? Already, you know, when I was 11, I had already started reading PC magazines and shit like that. And pretty much, you know, by the time I actually built one, knew everything I needed to know. But at the time, and remember, this was the early 2000s, so this wasn't that far post 9/11, right? Or 11/9 for you Eurotards. And so the you know, the fucking surveillance state hadn't fully taken over yet. Now you can't even go to a gas station without there being fucking microphones. And they're so audacious that they'll just tell you that, right? Think about that. They just, oh, we're recording you at all times. By the way, you can't record us. And it's like, well, yeah, because they want it to be, you know, one side, right? They want to be able to take their video and cut it up into what they want it to be. And they don't want you to be able to have, no, this is what actually happened, right? It was like that one bullshit maxer, right? Penis maxer, you know, whore maxer, fucking whatever. Useless fuck. You know, pseudo-centric, you know, these supposedly androcentric bullshitters. But I don't know, he had videos of him like trying to like go into fucking like strip clubs or whatever, and he'd have his camera and they'd like freak out about him recording. Oh, you can't bring a camera in here. It's like, y'all got motherfucking cameras all over the motherfucker. How come I can't have one? Yeah, sorry, but no, if you have one, I have one. I'm so tired. That's one of the things that makes me the sickest about humans is the special, like I said, they're the special pleading species, right? Well, it's okay for me, but you can't, right? You need to really think about that one. Ask yourself, why would a motherfucker want to be able to do shit that they don't want me to be able to do, right? It's like, you know, somebody that wants to take your guns away is because they want to do stuff to you to get shot for, but you not be able to shoot them, right? That's any fucking criminal terrorist you can think of. All right. You know, every you know, it's like Nazis said to the Jews, "Oh, you can't have guns." Right? I'm sure everybody was okay with that, right? You know, all the fucking, you know, LARPers, you know, show up to be like, "Phew, man, it's a good thing they took the Jews' guns away. That could have been bad," right? Yeah. Yeah, every psychopath is going to tell you you're not allowed to defend yourself. You're not allowed to fight back, right? Like, humans are so cowardly. Like, what they would prefer is that you be like paraplegic, right? Like, your legs don't work, you're in a wheelchair, and then still tie both hands behind your back, right? But you could be like that and they would still feel the need to like sneak up on you to sucker punch you. That's how cowardly a human is, right? They could have all the advantages and they would still be predatory like that. It's because they're a bitch. Humans don't. The reason the humans want the technological oppression is because they couldn't survive. I remember just a small example of that. My last ex, which, you know, it's been fucking going on 6 years since we were ever last like actually in front of each other in person. And I remember whenever I like showed up to pick him up, and then he was supposed to get us a hotel room to spend a couple nights at. Of course, that didn't happen. What he was trying to do is fleece me for the money for it when I showed up, thinking, oh, if I show up, I'll just pay for it or whatever. And he's like begrudging whenever I was like, no, you said you booked one. And he's like mad about it. Right. But anyway, while we're sitting there in my car, you know, it's summer, windows are rolled up, and I don't have air conditioning in that thing. And he's sitting there going, oh, I'm thirsty. Let's go to the store. I want to get a drink. I'm thirsty. It's like, motherfucker, you got in the car with a drink. I haven't drank anything since yesterday. Like, it had been like 24 hours since I last drank anything. And I'm just sitting there in the sweltering heat with the windows rolled up, direct sunlight, with no air conditioning, and I don't feel thirsty at all. I'm like, I'm used to this. Like, this motherfucker would die instantly if he had to like survive on his own, right? If he didn't have a million motherfuckers to just give him free shit, you know. But that's the problem is, you know, you think, you know, you want your Left 4 Dead, you know, 1 or 2 scenario, right? You want your, you know, Walking Dead or fucking what. I know motherfuckers say I sound like Eugene, which I don't, by the way. I mean, well, my accent sounds nothing like his. He has a Texas accent. I don't. But I understand what motherfuckers are really saying. Like, they don't realize they're saying this, but we do have the same overall, like, prosody and intonation and, like, inflection or whatever. Like, the way that we speak is pretty much identical, right? And that's really what they're hearing. But I mean, no, like, the closest I could think to somebody that actually sounds like me would be Killer Rolex, actually. Like, imagine Killer Rolex, but without the, like, black English effect on that specific accent. That's what I sound like, right? And I just thought it was funny that he I remember I always thought he sounds like he's from Virginia, right? And then one of his videos, he's like at a Planet Fitness in Roanoke or whatever. It's like, well, that makes sense. I don't know. I think y'all motherfuckers just don't know what you're hearing. But anyway, yeah, I do sound like him, but that's anyway, my point is, you can forget, like, the end of the world would suck too. You know why? Because all the motherfuckers that get preferential treatment in a fictional state paradigm with this societal cockroach nest thing that humans do, they'd have the same special treatment in total anarchy versus, you know, the state terrorism paradigm, right? Because that's all, like, humans already do that anyway. It's like, it's weird that they come up with this money shit or this state shit. It's like, you don't need it. You all already get together to just, you know, arbitrarily select who gets to, like, succeed and who, you know, has their life destroyed just because you don't like them. It's like, you don't even need all these, it's, you know, abstraction layers. Like, you don't need the shit. You already do that shit. It's like, well, but it you know, gives them a something else to, like, you know, it's blame shifting. Well, no, we didn't artificially restrict your access to resources. You just didn't make enough money, right? Like, bullshit like that. So, you know, the end of the world would be just the same fucking ass rat fucking prison existence as this one is, you know. But yeah, I mean, to some degree, it would be a little bit better. But probably not like you think it would be, you know, if you're the type that, yeah, like me, fantasizes about this shit just going away, you know, just, you know, return to monkey or fucking whatever. So that's another fucking nirvana fallacy that motherfuckers love to try to rebut, you know, Ted K with. Oh, so I guess we can't have glasses and antibiotics and all this other shit. We just gotta return to monkey. It's like, no, there's nothing saying you have to get rid of all that other shit. Right? Like, that's the thing, is it's totally arbitrary. Humans are just choosing to do this shit. Right? So I actually was playing Counter-Strike Source like a year ago. And, you know, how I always am, motherfuckers always want me to shut the fuck up because I'm saying shit like this the whole time. But I was talking to this dude, he like, I don't know if said he worked for the IRS or like he like did taxes or whatever. We were talking about like the server head donations, and it was like, you know, I was talking shit on that. Somebody else was talking shit too, but this guy kind of piped up about it. It was like defending donations or whatever. It's like, because the whole point was like, how is it a donation if I'm getting something extra, right? Because motherfuckers in that's what somebody said, oh, it's donator hours, because you get all the motherfuckers show up that paid to get more health than you. Guns that do more damage, right? More rounds in the magazine. They don't have to reload as often. It's like they're literally paying to win. And this one dude who's like the tax guy or whatever was like defending that. And I'm like, no, it's not a donation if you're getting something in return. You know, it's like at that point you're just paying for something, right? A donation is you just give money. That's all it is. You just give money. You don't get anything out of that. It's not a donation if you get something in return, right? You know, you already get yours, you know, the buff on your social credit score, you know, your PRC fucking, you know, PRCRT, whatever, you know, feminist, you know, fucking, you know, increase to, you know, you virtue signaled, right? So, you know, you get to pretend that you're like a good person or fucking whatever. Well, I donated money. It's like they donate for a tax write-off, right? It's like, so you're not really donating. You're just trying to make more money. So there was no charity involved. You wouldn't be doing it if you just got nothing in return, right? But I was talking to this one guy who was like defending the donation stuff, and aside from what I'd say, was like, it's not a donation if I'm getting something in return. I had said I really don't care, because I mean, how often do I play Source anymore? It's like, all right, the pay to win motherfuckers on there, well, whatever. I'll either play when they're not there, or, you know, only play like once a fucking year, so who cares? But I sort of just, you know, flippantly said, oh, you know, if I could write it off on my taxes, I'd donate. And he said something about, oh, you wouldn't be able to get a write-off on that because it doesn't meet your deductible, or I don't know, whatever the fuck he said. He's like, he used to do taxes or whatever. So, of course, we started talking about economics. And it's like I pointed out, it's like it makes no, you know, the state, blah, 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 right? And it's like money is just a tool of oppression. And it doesn't make any sense because, you know, like, well, like the government robbing fictional currency from us. And, you know, he was actually just, you know, kind of, you know, metaphorically nodding along the whole time, right? He's just typing out, yeah, it's true. It's like I told him, you know, it's like the money has no real value. They're just pretending, right? He's like, yeah, that's true. But then he said something about like going on the gold standard again. And I was like, well, what's the point of that? Because motherfuckers are just pretending gold has value, right? Even if it's rare, well, humans have to just decide that something being rare is valuable, right? I mean, having a micro penis is rare, and nobody's bragging about that, right? Being short as a male is, you know, if you're, you know, like 2 standard deviations below the mean for wherever you're at, or just the global average, well, that's rare comparatively. Nobody's bragging about that, right? So it's like, you know, why does rarity imply value on certain things but not others? Again, the special pleading species. But even when I said that, like, yo, gold has no value either. Motherfuckers are just pretending. He's like, well, yeah, you got a point. It's like this motherfucker like helped rob money for a living, right? That like they already know, right? But you know that there's no point to it because they're just going to do that. You know, you think, oh, you're going to get Left 4 Dead IRL or whatever. It's really you just want to fuck Zoe is what it is, you know. I mean, me personally, I'd rather fuck Rochelle, but whatever. You know, you do you. I don't know. My vibe is like Francis, I guess, because, you know, I do wear leather jackets occasionally. Well, the one I got, I don't remember what I did with it, but I got pictures wearing it. We vaguely look similar. If you look at the beta model of Francis from like the pre-release of Left 4 Dead, we look extremely similar because he was like fat. He had this bushy beard and the long hair and all that. You know, so he said, yeah, yeah, me and Francis, we seem like we, kind of appreciate the same things. He hates everything, you know. And yeah, like I said, I'm homosexual in practice, but like, really technically you could say I'm bisexual. Like I'd fuck a woman if I got the chance, but I'm not losing sleep over it. I don't care if it never happens. And even in like, the Left 4 Dead 2 scenario, it's like I'd rather fuck like the femboy version of Rochelle, really. So I don't know. That would be me if I was like, Walking Dead. If I was like Eugene, you know, that would be me. The fucking dude built like Kyle Ross. That's what I'd be like. It's like, you are so fucking hot. And he's like, oh, thanks, but I like other twinks. And then I'm like, I'm very aware of that, or fucking whatever. Yeah, that would be totally me right there. Just fucking whatever, gay shit. But, realistically, if it were truly an end of the world scenario, yeah, I might actually have a position of relevance. But it would only be something like that, right? And where motherfuckers benefit from me. Well, as I just said, that's been my whole life. I've never existed to motherfuckers unless I could benefit them, right? Otherwise, they don't care if I exist. Like even as I said, my last ex, he would ignore me all the time, not give a fuck about anything I cared about, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But I remember one time when I was living with him for that, fucking week I was living with him, he like comes home and he like has an iPhone with him. And he like throws it on the bed and he's like, hey, could you unlock this? And I was like, no, what am I, like a free phone unlocker? Or, like, what have you done for me, right? We haven't done any of the shit I want to do yet. What do you want to do? And it's like, it really doesn't, like, I don't know why motherfuckers care about homosexuality, because it's no different. It's the same bullshit, all right? So, femboy Rochelle, the black twink or fucking whatever, be, honestly, whatever. She'd, like, isn't that like a meme with Rochelle and Francis? Motherfuckers always pair them together because, they both hate everything or whatever. But isn't that like one of the things that's like she doesn't like leather vests or whatever, and he's like mad about that because he thinks leather vests are like awesome. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, we both wear leather vests and fuck black bitches, I guess. The only real difference compared to his beta model is that, we're, I'm 6'2", he's 6'4", so he's a little bit taller. I don't have any tattoos, but other than that, our favorite weapon, both of us, is the shotgun. I don't know, I always pick Francis if I can, if I play Left 4 Dead. Of course, motherfuckers always want to fucking steal it. So you piece of shit motherfucker. It's like trying to play Red Orchestra. Don't ever bother. Because I've always been the sniper, right? I just want to, like, set off in the background somewhere and just pick motherfuckers off, right? One of the, when I was a kid, I loved Saving Private Ryan, and I always loved the sniper in that movie, Private Jackson, he's always, and when I first played Day of Defeat, which was 2003 as well, I would always want to pick the sniper class, right? Well, when I started playing Red Orchestra, I always wanted sniper. Well, you'll never get it because the stupid asshole in fucking Denmark or fucking Norway or whatever that connects to the server faster than you is always going to get the fucking sniper, and you want a sniper? Well, fuck you, right? Like, your only option is to show up to the server when no one else is there, and then what's the fucking point, right? And then Red Orchestra 2 was even fucking worse, on top of just sucking anus in general. But yeah, I do like to fantasize about, zombies or whatever, but, well, the end of the world, zombies, I really don't give a shit. Who cares, if I play Left 4 Dead or whatever, that's what I'm thinking about. It's like, wait, you mean so I could just, like, be left the fuck alone, right? I mean, like, yeah, there's zombies there, well, whatever, who cares, right? I'd be like those guys that you come across where they're locked up in somewhere and it's like, oh, you got any soda? No? Well, fuck off, right? I'll do some shit for you after you do some shit for me or whatever. It's just because like I said, it'd be a motherfucking dream, dude. It's like I just sit around. Zombies, okay, well that's the thing is like, if you buy zombies as a concept, okay, well they're like literally brain dead. They're just like walking around. It's like all they have is an instinct to eat you. And it's like, well, okay, well the difference is humans and all their psychotic villainy, they do that shit on purpose, all right? They logically, intentionally, deliberately do the shit that they do, all right? So a zombie has the excuse of just being a zombie. It's whatever. It's not, unless you're talking Return to Living Dead, I guess. I don't know how I got off on zombies that long, whatever. But, suck my penis balls. Typed in the wrong map name. Whatever. But I'd rather just, be 12 years old and just play. Like that would be my like dream scenario at this point, is just let the fucking world end so I can just like sit there and just play Soldier of Fortune 2 until I die. Or I guess what if they do that? It's like the movie, like Day of the Dead is big on like training the zombies. Train them to play Soldier of Fortune 2 multiplayer so I can play that again, right? So bots suck. Honestly, like a literal zombie would be better than a fucking bot. Because bots in these games are just fucking stupid. But, I don't know. Sometimes I'll go to old multiplayer games and load them up with bots just to, shoot at something. It's like, whatever. But I don't know why. Everything just, I don't know. It's one thing to say, okay, well, when you were younger, everything was better because you were, like, newer or whatever. It's like, all right, sure, yeah, like, shit has always sucked. But it is absolutely gets worse all the time, right? Like you can't deny that. I mean, if you denied it, you would just be doing that to try to fucking push a narrative, which is total bullshit. It. This world absolutely, it's like, well, motherfuckers 1,000 years ago said the world was getting worse. It's like, yeah, and they were correct as well. Like that's not like a counter argument. That's just proving my point, right? Or it's like, I remember this one time I was talking to this dude that was like, he was like of course he had to be a status because he was like a fucking Marine veteran. Although I will give him the credit that at least he admitted that he was a veteran and not a combat veteran. So at least he had the balls to, not just say veteran and expect you to think he was like getting shot at or whatever. I mean, I can't blame him. I wouldn't want to get shot at either, but of course, when he said that, I was totally fucking with him about it. I was like, oh, so you're in the rear with the gear. But we were talking about the state shit, and, of course, I'm against the state in all configurations. Dude, it doesn't matter, right? Do you think it matters what ism motherfuckers choose? Every political ism is just a reformulation of feudalism. Like, all right, it's like there's the king fucks, and then you're the serf, right? AKA slave. Fucking retard. Motherfuckers just want to like pick a different form of fucking slavery because they're idiots. But I was talking to that dude, and he was like, well, if we get rid of the state and we get rid of the military, well, what about this other place that they didn't do that and then they try to invade us and whatever? And it's like, I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. But it's not really countering what I said. You're actually proving my point. If there was no state paradigm of any kind, they couldn't do that, right? And like that's the problem is that it won't go away. Once the only reason humans never did it before is because they weren't capable of doing it, right? It's like when motherfuckers say, oh, like Native Americans, they use the whole animal and whatever. It's like, yeah, but that's because they lived in a world of scarcity. And the only reason they weren't wasteful is because they couldn't afford to be. All right? All right? The reality is these motherfuckers are throwing the trash on the ground just like the motherfuckers in the fucking commercial. Right? That motherfucker's got a tear in his eye because they threw out more trash than me. And he's just mad that they were, figured out how to be more wasteful. You think motherfuckers really give a shit? So, each one of these things is a Pandora's box, and once you open it, there's no closing it, right? I mean, unless there's truly a nuclear war, which, again, every time I hear about that shit, there's going to be a nuclear war with, Russia, and it's like, you promise? Like, please give me, like I said, anything would be better than this. Give me your best motherfucking nuclear fucking battle, and we can just make it Fallout New Vegas in real life for fucking whatever. Because say what you want about Khazar and Fallout New Vegas, at least they're fucked off in the fucking desert or whatever, right? Okay, they're being a bunch of, fucking statist retards, but at least, you don't really have to, worry about it. Yeah, maybe they want to, like, conquer the fucking world or whatever, but they can't even conquer the fucking Mojave. It's like, shut the fuck up, And one of the things, though, I do appreciate, like, games that have more to them than just, being a shooter. I mean, it's fine, right? Like, Soldier of Fortune 2 is not exactly a deep philosophical game, right? I mean, you can make it that if you want it to be. Anything's deep to a deep motherfucker, right? And then a superficial motherfucker can't see depth in anything. So I mean, it's deep if you want it to be. It can be. I pontificate a lot while I'm playing this stupid fucking game about more than just nostalgia. But one of the things I motherfucking penisificate or fucking whatever about, suffocate my penis with your mouth, bitch. Yeah. If you're built like Elliot, well, if you're built like Elliot Rodger, but what I was going to say is if you're built like Kyle Ross, but yeah, if you're built like him, that works too. Really, if you're a twink, yeah, you can suffocate on my penis any day. You just be like, that fucking, yeah. This one dude that sucked my dick, he said some shit about, like, blowjobs, or like it sounds like you're stirring macaroni and cheese or whatever. It's like, what fucking macaroni and cheese are you stirring? Oh, whatever. Yeah, he actually did say that. Fucking faggot. Well, whatever. But, I pontificate about butt sex. Alright, can you tell I'm motherfucking caffeinated right now? Can you tell I'm fucking your mom right now, bitch? Alright, but one of the things I thinkificate about when I'm playing Soldier of Fortune 2 is, like, why the fuck are the motherfuckers in, like, the Prague level speaking Russian, right? I feel like they were just like, fuck it, who cares? Most motherfuckers play this going to be American. It's not like they can tell the fucking difference. Plus the developers in fucking Texas. So they probably didn't know the fucking difference either. Or they might, they might have done that. So, development time, money, whatever, and they just, whatever, close enough, right? I think what it might be, though, is that, at least I don't, like I said, I've never exactly paid attention to the story. It's something about virus and, whatever, meme vid, probably. Who the fuck knows, It's basically, Soldier of Fortune 2 is like Metal Gear Solid meets that movie Outbreak, right? It's like tactical espionage action, but then also, oh my god, virus, whatever, stupid. But maybe that's what it is, because part of the plot is that there's this group, this like terrorist group called Prometheus. And in case you weren't aware of the mythological reference, Prometheus is the one who gave fire to humans, right? So fuck him. Now I see why they, the gods tortured him by having his liver eaten by the ravens or fucking whatever for eternity, whatever bullshit. I don't remember. Does it really matter? There's a bunch of fucking cavemen coming up with bullshit because they were bored, But there's this terrorist group in the game called Prometheus, and I don't remember, like I said, the first level in Czechoslovakia, and that is accurate because the level is set in 1989. It's like a, like a prologue or fucking whatever before you, like, start in, like, the current day or whatever in the game. But I think maybe that's why they speak Russian, because, for most of the game you think, like, the bad guy is this Russian dude, God, what's his fucking name? I forget. Of course, I'm gonna forget. But maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're not actually Czech, or Czechoslovakian, I guess. Maybe they're just like Russian, fucking, you know, terrorist group guys, and like they're wearing the uniform. But it's like that would make sense, right? Because 1989, it's not like super far after World War II, and it's like, okay, well, a terrorist group, and Czechoslovakia is like some Russian, you know, separatists, or I don't know, whatever the fuck it is, and it's like, okay, well, they're just using basically guns that were like collected after World War II, and that's why they're using grease guns and 1911s or whatever. I don't know. Does it, again, does it really matter? And the answer is no. Soldier of Fortune 2 is, it's like, it's like Painkiller. Like, I guess technically there's a story, but you absolutely don't need it. It's fucking awesome on its own. But yeah, I do appreciate games that have like intentional depth, where it's like Kazar in New Vegas. I played New Vegas. I don't actually remember if I ever played 3. I've definitely never played the 2D games, or top down or fucking whatever. I never completed New Vegas, but I have played it, and so I'm aware of the character, and I do appreciate that there's a. It's nice to see a character in a game that has like believable motivations other than, oh, I'm the evil one, or whatever. And it's like, well, I mean, yeah, he is evil, but at least as bullshit as his motivations are, at least they exist. Other than, oh, I'm the comic book villain, right? I'm here to like make the good guy look good or whatever. But as Walter says in The Big Lebowski, whether you like Kazar or not, say what you want about the tenets of fucking Kazar's Legion, at least there's an ethos, that's kind of nice when fucking child molesting state terrorists like that at least have a internally consistent framework or whatever. It's like Nazis. It's like they suck anus, but like you could probably, it's like they're predictable because you kind of already know what their motivations are or whatever. The problem is like humans, it's like the reason communism went away as an ism is because all these post-Soviet states and just like the rest of the world, these, post-communist states, they realize that they don't need it, right? It's way easier to oppress motherfuckers by just like tricking them into thinking that they have freedom or whatever. Because like if you look at it, like, dudes, Stalin could never have fucking dreamed, right? Or like Hitler could never have dreamed, Pol Pot, whoever, of the modern fucking technological dystopia of the United States and just, at this point, the world in general, right? It's like, wait, hold on, you mean these stupid fucks will just carry a tracking device around with them all the time? And not only will they do that, but they like, not only will they be willing to do it, they actually want to do that. It's like he motherfucking jizz in his pants right there. If you motherfucking went back to, Georgia circa 1920, whatever, and it's like, hey, Stalin, so check this out. We're going to put you in a time machine to the United States in 2025. Trust me, dude, it's going to be awesome, right? It'd probably be a movie, It's fucking, Stalin and fucking Putin's, new adventure, fucking whatever. I don't know. Bill and Ted's, excellent bullshit. Yeah, they go back as like, whoa, Stalin, bro. And it's like, come on, man, we gotta take you back to the fucking smartphones, dude. I know kung fu and everything. Whatever. But yeah, it's like, is it really that easy? The sad thing is that it is, And it's just weird. Like, I really wish I'd listened to Metal Gear Solid 2 when I was a kid. They're sitting there talking about, oh, I'll choose what to, like who to be and what to pass on and this and that and all this bullshit. And it's like, but are you like really, is that really you? Or is that just what you've been like tricked into believing you're supposed to do? Or like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you know, it had some nice kind of thought exercises in there, but I never, you know, it's like I mentioned Stalker becoming like a video game becoming real life. Like, this nuts. But then it's like Metal Gear Solid 2 has been real life for, you know, at least 15 years that motherfuckers are aware of. It's just like I miss when I was 12 because technology was like advanced enough to be cool, but not advanced to be able to do what they do now, right? But that's what humans do. They just debauch everything. They don't corrupt it. Corruption would be like missing no and you know, missing number in Pokemon. Like, it's just an accident of tilting the cartridge or whatever. It's not supposed to happen, right? What humans do isn't corruption because they started out with the intention of doing that, right? Stuff doesn't, like, I don't know, go off the rails or whatever. They were just headed that way the whole fucking time, right? There's no, I don't know, but like it's not really corrupt because it's like that would imply that it wasn't supposed to be like that. And yeah, maybe, like I said, when I was a kid and like obsessed with computer graphics and oh wow, they got, you know, facial, you know, motion capture and this and that and, you know, all this wow, photogrammetry, and now they're like scanning scenes and they have, you know, special algorithms to do what's called hallucinations, which at the time didn't mean what it means now. Now, hallucination is like when an AI fucks up and says something that's absolutely not true. But back then, hallucination was just like in a technological context, it was literally just making something new, right? So it would scan, you know, they scan an environment and then literally put new stuff into it just based off of, you know, just fucking statistics. And like you thought that was going to be like super awesome. It's like, nope, prison reality. Now you got motherfuckers going to prison because an AI said it was totally them in the video or whatever. I notice it never says that it's a cop that committed the crime. You know, I bet you if AI said it was a cop every time, that shit would go away real fast, right? That's another special pleading, you know, is like police are allowed to be, you know, they're allowed to spend all day committing armed robberies, armed burglaries, armed home invasions, armed kidnappings, you know, armed carjackings, right? Grand Theft Auto. They're allowed to steal your car because reasons or, you know, like whatever. And it's like, it does not seem to weigh on the conscience of anyone. And that's when they're not just straight up torturing motherfuckers, right? But somehow it's totally okay because they were like wearing the right clothes or whatever. And, you know, like most of the stuff I learned on, you know, neurobiology and a great deal of the sociobiology that, you know, started with, you know, watching an entire Stanford lecture series by Robert Sapolsky, and I watched it in like 2010 or whatever. It's still on YouTube. If you want to spend 50 hours, you know, watching, you know, neurobiology lectures, you can do that too if you want. Probably not. I mean, I will because I'm, you know, fucking insane or whatever. But yeah, like I realize like he's sitting there talking about this shit, and it makes me. He'll just say stuff matter of factly like it's not evil. He'll just point out, oh, you know, like for an example, humans don't hate violence. They hate violence in the wrong context, right? So the idea is like the boxing match, it's okay, right? For two dudes to just, you know, slug each other because they were supposed to do that there, right? But you punching someone in the face because they were fucking with you and you had a valid moral justification to retaliate. No, you're the mean, evil criminal, and that was assault. But then also, well, police just punch the motherfuckers in the face because they feel like it is fine. It's like, that's insanity. And he just says this shit like there's like nothing wrong with it, right? It's like, one of his, it's not a part of that series, but one of the things in some, speech he gave or whatever was talking about how, somewhere right now there's a loving father, father of two and husband, and he's just a regular guy, but today he's going to go get in his car and drive to work, where he's going to use a game controller to bomb people with drones in a country he's never been to. And he says it like there's not a problem with that. No, he's not a regular guy. He's a psychopath and a fucking criminal. And it's like, well, I mean, obviously he's a fucking human. That was another thing I realized. I mean, I always understood this when I was little, even, because I was the weird kid. I didn't watch cartoons. I'd watch, public broadcasting, Discovery Channel, National Geographic, when they actually had anything worth watching on those channels. And I would watch, like, when I'd watch the documentary about the gorillas, or like really any animal, I would see it as if I was, I sort of realized that humans basically acted the same way. And whenever like, watching those as a kid got me into this thing where, like, I would just people watch, in the sense of I would look at, all these humans around me as if I were watching like a nature documentary. And it's like, all of a sudden, so many things made sense, right? It's like, males and females are no different. All right. You think that they are because social expectations or whatever. No, they're no different. I don't know, just a lot of stuff. But one of the things, years and years later, one of the Robert Sapolsky videos I watched was, it wasn't the full point of the video, but it was one thing he mentioned on, like, primate behavior. He's talking about baboons. He's talking about this group of baboons that there's a new one shows up. They don't like them, and in the middle of the night or whatever, they like all gang up on him and, basically pull him to pieces, rip his face off and all that. And he just says this like there's no problem with that. Like, he just is so matter of fact about it. And dude, this was the, like, tribe or whatever of baboons that he was fucking studying. And it's like, wait, so you saw this happening and you did nothing about it? Well, then you're no better than the rest of them then. And like that example, 10, 15 years ago, whatever, when I first watched that, really solidified for me that humans truly were just primates. There's nothing special about humans. So they make some complicated sounds. Well, there's nothing saying that they're any different than any other fucking animal. Maybe you just don't pick up on the other species or fucking whatever. Because you're not, it's like, I'm a bipedal primate. I tend to hear what sounds bipedal primates make with their fucking throat, right? Whether they're humans or people, it doesn't matter, right? So, it's like dolphins probably have, we just hear clicks or whatever. It's probably the most complicated language ever. You're just too stupid to understand it, right? So to you, it's just, all toilet noises or whatever. Boggle. But no, it's like humans, they're just, they really are just primates with opposable thumbs, right? It's like if you gave baboons or chimpanzees opposable thumbs, they would be just as evil as humans. The only reason a chimpanzee or, a fucking gorilla or whatever isn't as much of a threat to you is just because they don't have the ability, right? It's like the Native Americans that give a shit about wastefulness. They just couldn't afford to be, right? It's like, well, a gorilla doesn't have assault rifles, or fucking, smartphones or whatever, because they just physically don't have the dexterity for it. If they had the same, fucking dexterity as humans, they would have done the shit way before us because they've been here longer. I mean, there's other species that had that shit before humans. But humans show up and murder them all off, right? They murdered off the Neanderthals and Cro-Magnons and fucking everything else. I just thought it was weird that Australopithecus, I think it was, they were around for like 500,000 years. And we're talking compared to humans, which may have been around for 250,000. But it's just weird that their existences only overlap by like a few thousand or a few tens of thousands of years, right? it's like Australopithecus is just chilling, and then humans show up and like dead, right? And it's just kind of what humans do, is just, you know, just rape everything, just destroy everything. And I don't know. I'm sick of it. I'd give motherfucking anything for this stupid post-apocalypse motherfuckers keep acting like they're worried about. It's like, what would you? It'd be a fucking paradise, dude. It's just, like I said, launch the nukes, dude. I'll fucking kick back on a fucking lawn chair and inhale the radioactive fallout. It's like, wow, you mean humans are about to fucking not exist soon, right? Because nothing's going to undo any of this, all right? You know, the only thing that'll make it really change is humans just have to go extinct. Because there's not... It's like, I remember seeing something with Richard Feynman, and he was asked, well, if you could, you know, it's like there's like a Library of Alexandria thing. It's like all the information burned down, which is like a myth, by the way, right? It's like Alexandria was not the only fucking library, but whatever, you know. They asked him the hypothetical, it's like, if you could only preserve one piece of information for posterity, what would it be? And his response was that stuff is made up of little tiny pieces, right? Molecules, atoms, whatever. And my response would be, I wouldn't fucking tell them anything. Fuck them. They don't need to know. All right. And he's going to give the quantum physicist response. I'm going to give the don't want any more state terrorism response. I don't. The last thing this world needs is another primate species to fucking run wild like humans have. You know, and like the flat earthers or whoever just say like, oh, the moon landing was faked. It's like, it better been fucking faked. Humans better never get off this motherfucking planet. The last thing humans need to do is go somewhere else and fuck up everything there too. All right, so they better not. That shit better have been fake. They better never do that shit again if it weren't. All right. I mean, speaking of that, I don't give a fuck if the Earth is round or flat. It could be shaped like my fucking nutsack for all I care. Like, how does, like, it's one of those things that's just a waste of time, right? It's like, oh, does a God exist or not? It's like, who gives a shit? Whether the Earth was flat or round, or there was a God or there wasn't one, you know, it's like, oh, there was no God. It was just, you know, the Earth was flat the whole time, or, you know, there was no God. It was just the random chaos of subatomic particles the whole time, or whatever. It's like, so what? The shit. It was just a fucking evil prison reality either way. Who cares why it's that way? That is beyond irrelevant. I really don't give a shit. You know, hey, if you got the fucking, you know, like legit proof that the Earth is flat, you know, maybe it's like Zelda and you just go to one side of the map and come out the other again, or fucking whatever. All right. Or, you know, you're the one that's got like hard evidence that God exists or whatever. Well, hey, I'm the one to give it to. Because I'll see it and be like, all right, I guess God exists and the Earth is flat, you know, or firmament or fucking whatever. Because I don't give a shit. It changes nothing for me. It's like, that's just the explanation. Who gives a shit? You know, it's like if we found out, you know, Einstein was wrong the whole time. It's not like, you know, shit's going to magically start floating upwards or whatever, right? Or like we were wrong about gravity or whatever, you know, or like, you know, it's not like, oh, if we found out that thermodynamics was bullshit, stuff's not, you know, water's not going to just magically start boiling at a different fucking temperature or whatever. It just means that the explanation was wrong. So who gives a shit? Changes nothing about what is. So, I don't know, fuck this world. I'm not sure if I have much else to say. I bet if I do, I'll think of it. Think of fucking your butthole, bitch. Yeah, this world is fucking gay and retarded. I hate everything. I don't know. I wish I could, there's a lot of motherfuckers I wish I could talk to, but I wish I could have talked to Baraka. You know, he seemed like he was a person. You know, I don't know. That's kind of the hell, right, of it. Like the real life of hell is, what if he wasn't, right? Yeah, I love Elliot Rodger. Okay, well, he could have been evil the whole time, and I just don't have the evidence for it, right? You know, it's because I can only go off of what I'm aware of, right? I don't know. I say that because, like, I was thinking about Jake Davison more recently because, he's another one that seemed like he could have been a person. And I actually had a chance to talk to him because he tried messaging me on my original channel. But I didn't want to talk to him at the time. And it truly wasn't anything personal, right? But I also understand why he wouldn't have given a shit if it weren't. But dude, he like I don't regret shit with these fucking humans. So if I had the correct information ahead of time, I would have chosen a different action or whatever. But like in the context of humans, I don't give a fuck because I don't owe these humans anything. Right? They owe me so much they can never repay me. And I don't owe these fucking humans shit. So I don't regret anything with these fucking humans, right? It's like, yeah, all the life-destroying experiences I've had, it's like, well, hey, if I had looked different, I could have done and said the exact same shit my whole life and had a totally different result. So it can't really be my actions that dictated my life outcomes. Yeah, do I hate it? Obviously. Would I, wish it were different? Yeah, obviously. But at the end of the day, I don't regret anything because I'm not to blame, But one of the few things I regret is not talking to Jake Davison when I had the chance. This was back when this was like 2020, right? It was like right before he did that shit. But it was one of those things where even though I had like, nowadays, yeah, comments are technically enabled, but everything goes to pending and I'll never read it because I don't give a shit what you bitch ass fucking humans think about anything. You can fucking go to hell for all I care. But back then, even though I had shit set to public, well, it is set to public, but you know what I mean? It's like it just auto publish your comment, right? It didn't have to be approved or whatever. It was still, they were doing their, like, their new censorship psychosis. And so his comment went to pending anyway, right? And when I saw it, I actually blocked him. And, again, it was nothing personal, but in retrospect, after, I kind of like read about him, I realized that's one of the few things I've ever done in life that I've regretted based off of the information I have. And this is where the nightmare prison reality comes back in, is that everything I've found of his, like there's nothing I can see in anything that he's ever said that there's like, proof of that would, I don't see anything in there where he's like done or said anything psychotic, right? It's like that with Baraka or like Elliot Rodger or some others, and that puts him in the category of tentative people, right? So as I say, humans can't be people because humans are evil. All humans are evil. So you can't be a person if you're a human, but maybe they're bipedal primates, but they can't be humans. Or, there'd be something indicating their fucking sickening depravity, which, for the ones I've mentioned, I see none. But I regret not interacting with Jake Davison when I had the chance because, dude, it was like a week or two later that, he's, in the fucking news. And I feel like, it's like when you're in that, you feel like that position of last resort or whatever, and you try to reach out to somebody and they like, ostracize you, whatever their intent was isn't going to matter. And I hate the idea that I could have contributed to that, and I'm not talking about the humans, fuck them. All right. Their lives are valueless. They can, like I said, they can go to hell if one exists. But I think of the consequences my actions could have had for him. But so it's one of the things that, based off of current information, I regret. However, it's like one of the only things that I truly regret. It's one of the only things I can say like I actually did something wrong. But at the same time, I don't fully hold myself to that. It's still a hypothetical because, well, what if the information of him being just yet another evil piece of shit human is out there somewhere and I just haven't seen it yet, right? Because it's like, how many like the psycho pillars, dude. I backed up VVS's whole channel before it got taken down. I'm not talking about the re-upload channel. I'm talking about the original channel. December 2019, one of the last videos he ever made, you know, talking about, like, I forget the name of it now, but there's just a part he says, it's like, what's the point of getting all this money when bitches would rather fuck a hot dude with no money? So fuck your money, right? Or like whatever. He just kept saying that over and over again. It's like, so fucking worthless, man. And it's like, I really felt that. And I felt like I was able to connect emotionally with someone else who like got it, right? But then, and like, this is a video I watched over and over again. And some days at that time helped me not commit suicide. You know, back at a time when I would ever actually still be suicidal. Now it'll never happen again. Why would I take that out on myself? I'm not the problem, you know. So I'll never feel suicidal again. But like at that time, his videos like helped keep me alive. And it's like now I realize that was the worst outcome. Because at the same time, you know, you're getting, you know, what you feel like is like emotional support just from listening to somebody talk. Well, I try to go back to that a couple years later because, like I said, I didn't watch every video he had, but I downloaded every one of them. And it was serendipitous in the worst way because it's like several other channels that I just happened to download all their shit right before they deleted their whole fucking channel. But then, you know, as like a nostalgia thing, and it's like I'm feeling bad and I just need to hear somebody at least acknowledge how shit is. And so I'm trying to listen to his videos again just to, you know, not only be emotional support, but also kind of nostalgia. It's like I could remember, you know, as hard as I thought life was in December 2019, if only I'd known how much worse it could actually get, right? But then, of course, I come across the motherfucking video of him, you know, of course, he's got to say some stupid shit about homosexuals, right? He's not going to, because they're never specific, right? They just say faggots. They don't, are you talking human homosexuals or just homosexuals, right? They don't ever specify. They're probably never thought of it. And it doesn't matter because if you weren't evil, you wouldn't think like that. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that somebody's a piece of shit or not based off of their behavior. You know, you don't get to just package deal fallacy or whatever it is where, oh, somebody has one trait, so that must imply another. That's literally just a different version of the halo effect, right? It just less directly looks based. Oh, homosexual must imply this, that, right? And it's like, so you're the exact same problem you want to fucking cry and bitch about, right? And it just how robbed you feel when you come across, you know, that video, whatever it is, where they say just some totally off the wall shit and like now you feel cheated. Like you would have never watched their shit if you had seen that one first or whatever, right? And that's what I have to think about, right? I feel the way I do, you know, about Jake Davison. I wish I would have, you know, talked to him like he wanted to. He needed somebody to talk to. I honestly, as long as he never did or say anything psychotic, I'd be the best person to talk to, right? Especially because we have a lot of the same life experiences. There's so much that we had in common that we absolutely could have talked about, right? We could have bonded over the love of guns, right? We could have talked about that all day, right? It's like some of my favorite guns of all time are English, you know, or you know, British, Commonwealth, whatever you want to call it, weapons, you know. So if I play a World War II game, Lee Enfield, you know, Browning high power. Because Lee Enfield had a 10-round magazine when basically everything else, bolt action, had a 5, right? So if you weren't lucky enough to get the semi-automatic rifle, it didn't matter, right? Pretty much. And then, of course, you know, if you're playing Day of Infamy or whatever, you can get the high power. And it's like that is the highest capacity handgun, at least in use as far as I'm aware, during World War II. Right? It's like 13 rounds. It was like the original high capacity, you know, handgun. You know, it's like, you know, because after that it was like, there was the Beretta 92 was 15 rounds, I believe. And then, you know, in the 80s when the Glock 7, the Glock G17 shows up. The G17 has a 17 round mag, right? Which is coincidental, by the way. The G17 it's not called the G17 because it has a 17 round mag. G17 was just the patent number. I mean, maybe they tried to make it 17 rounds just to, be able to do that or whatever. But it's like the 19 is 15 rounds, and then the 26 is 12, right? Like default OEM mag or whatever. But like there's a lot of shit. He had a shotgun, I got a shotgun. We both like shotguns, right? And there's just a lot we could have talked about, and I basically could have affirmed him that he's not a piece of shit just because nobody likes him or whatever. And maybe if I'd given him that opportunity like he was reaching out for, he wouldn't have done that stuff. Again, I don't give a fuck about the humans involved. Fuck them. But I'm thinking as far as like how it would have affected him. But to come full circle with that, to make my point, that I don't fully blame myself for that. Like I regret it on the basis of what I'm aware of, but I don't fully hold myself to it for that reason. Maybe there's some, image or video or whatever, proof of him saying or doing some psychotic shit. And it's like, imagine how cheated I would have felt from that, right? And yeah, even with Elliot Rodger, yes, I am in love with Elliot Rodger. I think he's attractive. And, he's also a sweetheart, and I would have fucking given anything to find a gay dude like him. But again, I have to understand, like I said, even for myself, I have to be realistic about it. It's like, I'm the only one that's ever actually read his memoirs. I'm the only one that's ever actually read his diaries in full. No one else has done it. These child molester pillars, these bullshit pillars, they never done it. They just want to fucking, ER, right? It's like Baraka. They didn't give a shit about Baraka. Because when he was alive and talking about hoot cows or whatever, they just went, he said he liked, bitches with pink nipples or whatever. And it's just a joke to them. It's like when I tried to, when I thought that they were a support group, it's like, no, they're just there to laugh at me. It's like they want to cry and bitch that life sucks, but they just show up to laugh at me. Right? But, no, moment Baraka's dead, they want to rest in peace, like they ever gave a shit. Right? But even though I've read all of Elliot's stuff, I've seen every video or like screenshot or whatever of anything he's ever said or done that I'm aware of, there might be something out there somewhere that shows, he was evil the whole time too, right? And that's just always something in the back of your head, and motherfuckers hate that, right? They hate the idea that you can never really know whether they're evil or not. And that's why I used to have this idea of, there's only a couple individuals that I declared people like Elliot Rodger, and I don't put anyone in that category anymore. They're sort of grandfathered in because that was before I had really fully kind of formulated this or like reconciled this whole kind of stance that I have now. So now everyone, including Jake Davison or whatever, goes into the like tentative people list. It's like that, well, they might have been people, right? But it's like everything else I've seen on this planet, aside from very rare individuals, are like, they're absolutely just evil fucking, I said, they're just primates. Just pieces of shit, But yeah, I do regret not talking to, Jake Davison or whatever. And we, because like I said, we got the same treatment, right? Anyone else, it would be okay to like guns, but when it's us, because we're like ugly or whatever, or like scary looking or whatever, well, then it's an obsession, right? Don't you just love it how humans, it's like if you're weird, like if you're not like everyone else and they like you, you're eccentric. But if you're not like everyone else and they don't like you, all of a sudden you're weird, right? You're a creep, right? It's like the same thing, right? Nobody's worried about cops having an obsession with guns, right? in the United States. I mean, in England, it's not really a thing. I mean, they got them if they want them. They're just not walking around with them like in the United States, But like in the United States, nobody's worried about cops having guns, right? And there's plenty of motherfuckers that it's okay when they like guns, they're a gun enthusiast, right? But, or whatever they'll call it. But then when they don't like you, you're obsessed with guns, It's just how fucking just psychotic humans are. It's like literally your whole life experience is just based off of what you look like, right? So I'm kind of not surprised that me and Jake Davison had similar experiences in life, because we both look similar, right? That was another thing I remembered reading, when they were trying to fucking, of course I'm blanking on the term, but, in the media, they got to make it, he's the piece of shit. And it's like one of the things, actually, I think it's on Wikipedia. Oh, somebody said that he was using steroids. And it's like, okay, even if he were, so what? Roid rage is a myth, right? Like, Chris Benoit did that shit because he had massive fucking brain damage. All right, and if this world had any morality, Vince McMahon's ass would be in fucking prison for facilitating that. Because, like, pro wrestling is a disaster for anyone involved. All right, you're a circus monkey to Vince McMahon, right? You don't get health insurance, so you're a contractor, but you're not allowed to work for any other wrestling federations or whatever, right? And he, single-handedly kills kayfabe because he just doesn't want to deal with the gaming commission or whatever the fuck, right? Like, because some motherfuckers don't realize, like, there was actually a time, it's like, people knew it was fake. And, you get the Slavoj Žižek bullshit, the fucking psycholosopher that, they're just, it's not philosophy, it's philosophistry. They just love spreading bullshit. Like, this stupid motherfucker is like such an intellectual. Like, he really doesn't understand. It's like, no, motherfuckers actually thought wrestling was real. Pro wrestling, they actually thought the shit was real. They weren't just suspending disbelief, like the guy in the meme. It's still real to me, damn it. Right? And it's like when they find out it's not, it shatters their worldview. Motherfuckers, when I was a kid, motherfuckers actually thought wrestling was real. Okay, maybe not everybody. I found out when I was like 8 years old, there was this special on TV, which you can actually still find if you go looking for it. But, referencing Feynman again, he had some old interview of his where somebody he was talking to was like, because you're a scientist, you think of everything in like molecules and shit, and it's like you couldn't appreciate the beauty of a flower because you're just looking at like cells or whatever. And then his response to whoever said that to him, the point he makes in the interview is like, why would knowing how the flower works take any away from the beauty? I mean, if anything, it adds to it, right? That's sort of how I've always been. It's like learning, like teaching myself music theory made me enjoy music more. Now, to some motherfuckers, maybe it ruins music for them because they see music theory as like a set of rules. So it's like you have to do it. No, it's just like, okay, I want something to sound kind of like mysterious, spooky, kind of like dreamy, and whole tone scale, right? It's just like a bunch of hints to kind of like nudge you towards what you're trying to do, right? You don't have to use it. It doesn't matter, right? I mean, it's like that language simp guy on YouTube, Don't worry about doing a real, like, legit accent or like authentic accent, because chances are there's some motherfucker in whatever country it is that talks like you anyway. You could just pretend to be from like some little village or like whatever, right? It's like that. Don't worry about being on the beat on drums or whatever. It's just like, we'll just pretend you were doing this real complicated, syncopated, swing beat. And it's like Ron Jarzambek, he has a song called A Headache in a 64th, where the measures are actually, they're not 4/4, they're actually 65 64ths. Yeah. It's like, you can just say that. It's like, no, I did that on purpose, right? Like, you just, like, at the end, if you actually understand music theory, you understand, like, it actually restricts nothing, really. But, I saw a documentary when I was like 7 or 8 years old. It's on YouTube. I would have to. I've rediscovered it a few times because I have to look through them and figure out which one it was. I don't think it's the one that shows up first if you search for it. But it was from like the 90s or whatever. And it was something I saw on TV. It's like, here's how wrestlers do the thing, right? And it's like, oh, they use a little razor blade to like cut their eyebrow. It's like, oh, wow, you got split open from being punched in the blood or whatever. Or like the chairs they have, they're thinner metal than a real metal chair, and they're like pre-dented, right? Or how like they stomp the mat when they throw the punch to help sell it or whatever. And it's like, that didn't ruin wrestling for me. That made me think it was even more awesome. It's like, because it's like now you get a deeper appreciation for it or whatever. I mean, that's how I see shit, but like the Chris Benoit thing, I thought of that because I mentioned the roid rage. That's how I got off on that. But that was the thing. Chris Benoit didn't have roid rage. He had brain damage. All right. Somebody who just killed their wife and son because they were evil or whatever isn't going to go try to Google how to bring them back to life and then kill themselves when they realize they can't do it. That's somebody with like massive frontal lobe damage caused by a psychotic piece of shit in wrestling. That was a horrific tragedy that would not have happened if humans had morality and just stopped Vince McMahon from being the psychopath he is. Go watch old interviews with him if you don't believe me. But no, steroids don't give you roid rage. At best, they just amplify who you already were. But it's just so stupid to see smear campaigns like, oh, he took steroids. It's like, it doesn't matter. Okay, even if he took steroids, like let's say he were naturally angry and he took steroids and that made him more naturally angry. Okay, well, but you bullshit motherfuckers were fucking with him. And that's what I'm worried about, right? It's like I could have, been like the final nail in the coffin almost literally for him. Because like he tried one last time, I could have been like the last person he tried to like talk to. And I, deprived him of that opportunity. And, I don't know. I feel bad about it. But at the same time, again, the screenshot of the shit he said that wasn't just a societal narrative, but it was like actual proof of him being like actually a piece of shit or something might be out there somewhere. And that's the real nightmare when you have to realize that is like there may be no there might be nobody else. There might be no fucking people I might be the only one. That's what really fucking scares me. And I don't know why, it's like, especially like the state terrorists, I don't know why they give a fuck about illegal immigration. Oh my God, illegal aliens. It's like, dude, humans are illegal aliens. Right? Even scientists, they think, that humans are from another planet. Like fucking bacteria from somewhere else slammed into this fucking piece of shit rock, and now humans are here. Women are from Mars, men are from Venus, or was it men are from Mars, women are from Venus? And no, humans are like from some prison reality that they need to fucking go away. All right, humans need to just be from somewhere else. But yeah, like I said, this world, I don't know. It's just so insulting when you feel like you found somebody to talk to that like actually gets it, and like you find out they were just a piece of shit the whole time, right? Like that one Polish asshole who was just, the pseudo anarchist that it's like every other human, they become a statist the moment they feel like it benefits them. Or, I'm going to join the military just so I can shoot people. It's like, so you're just part of the problem then, piece of shit. And this is after he's like, I want anarchy so I can just rape women and get away with it. Yeah, okay. And then, this is what black pillars consider an acceptable individual. Like I said, roll out the motherfucking carpet for that bitch motherfucker, right? Y'all motherfuckers accept him. All right, well, fuck him and fuck you. All right? They say you humans are useless. That's like I said. It's like Oreo Man said, he said he'd sell his soul to the devil for a taste of the good life. I'd sell my soul to the devil just to go back 6 years You know, when I started saying that, I said a year ago, because it was like 2020 I first ever said that. Now it's been like 6 fucking years, you know. But, you know, when I think about it, it's like, no, I wouldn't sell myself. I'd sell all you fucking humans, you know. I'd sell every one of you fucking humans just to go back 6 years. But as I've said before, at this point, that's the problem, is that you humans aren't fucking worth anything. Even Satan wouldn't want your fucking bitch ass. Plus, who says Satan's the bad guy? Even if he existed. No, God just didn't like him because, you know, he had the, you know, the nerve to stand up to fucking God. It's like, you know, what makes you so special, right? So that's how, like I said, that's how you know humans created God in their own image. Because only a human invention would be that fucking petty, right? Where they'll want to torture you and fucking punish you just for not, you know, sucking their fucking dick and like literally worshiping them, right? Only a human thinks like that, you know. Yeah, I wish there were a fucking afterlife. I wish there was a place where evil motherfuckers went to get tortured for eternity. That's the problem. There probably isn't one. Like I said, it's not a prison planet. It's a prison universe. There ain't no way out. All right. Even if you could get off this fucking planet, where the fuck are you going to go, right? It's like, you know, terrestrial prisons. You know, they put them in the middle of nowhere, so even if you got out, where are you going to go, right? You're actually better off in the prison, and then they're going to say, oh, well, you know, you must like it here, then must not be that bad because you're not trying to, you know, it's always got to be you, right? It's like they construct this shit on purpose, and then, you know, you take the obvious, you know, game theory, you know, option, and that makes you, that's like proof you're the piece of shit then too, you know. It's a fucking humans. This is like slavery. Oh, the slaves are better off slaves because they couldn't take care of themselves. And it's like, that might be, but that's only because you deliberately deprive them of the ability to be able to take care of themselves, right? That's why I said this in a BitChute video years ago now, and I would honestly, at this point, I'd probably just start reusing that channel. Problem is, I don't remember the fucking login, and I might use just it might not even been a real email. I might just made it up, right? I literally, there's basically no way for me to log into the shit. I'm not making another one. But there's a video I made a long time ago about how the state, I didn't say it exactly this way, but this is how I would say it now, is that, like, the state is just the extension of the psychopathy of the family unit or whatever. You know, it's like, that's your original state, is just these, you know, psychotic human social groups, right? It's like, you know, your mother, right? I'd say mother and father, but who the fuck has a father anymore, you know? I mean, not that it matters. It's like, did the world ever seem any better when most motherfuckers had their father, right? It's like, you really go and look back, did it ever seem like it was any better? Right? You know, it's whatever. But that's what it is. Yeah, the state is infantilizing because humans are infantilizing. They want to deliberately withhold information and all this shit just so that you're dependent on them, right? You know, so just anything in society. This is why they got rid of shop class, why they got rid of home ec and all this other shit. Because if you don't know how to do this shit, well, you got to pay somebody else, right? And now here's their chance to keep you dependent and rob you of fictional currency. It's like, dude, it's already made up. What does money matter? Well, that's part of the point, is that it just makes no sense, and it's just chaotic. But that's the point. For humans, that's the point. You know, it's like Jordan Peterson, you know, living proof that even a broken clock is right twice a day. You know, and if that's if you're lucky enough to be American, because, you know, our dumbasses use a fucking 12-hour clock, right? So you better hope you're American, you know. But that's one thing, like I said, Jordan Peterson's an idiot, but one of the valid things he said was, you know, like with Hitler, it's like, what's the point of killing all these motherfuckers? You know, you just got all these, you know, gypsies and homosexuals and, you know, Jews and everybody else. Just, it's like, it's literally free work, right? It's slave labor. So what's the point of killing all of them? And as he said, well, what if that is the point? It's just to be totally chaotic and just destroy everything, right? Like, you think Hitler really gave a shit about German people? I mean, first of all, his bitch ass wasn't even German. He was Austro-Hungarian, right? And when he was, even when he served in the military in World War One, it wasn't even the German military, technically. It was the Bavarian military. They didn't get folded into just the military of the German Empire till later. But, like, he wasn't even born in the German Empire. He's not German, right? He's, even during World War II, his birthplace was in Austria, modern day Austria, right? But I don't know. Even if you bought that, right? It's like, well, if he loved German people so much, why would he do everything to get them all killed, right? Like, you know, you could say propaganda all day, but when Goebbels says that, you know, Allied bombing of Dresden killed 800,000 or fucking whatever, I absolutely believe that. Because that's exactly what the United States and what fucking England would do, isn't it? I just go look at motherfucking Serbia, you know, in the 90s. And it said, oh, you know, civilians need to evacuate. And then they bomb the fucking, you know, civilian, you know, line of vehicles trying to leave. And then there's, oh, we thought that was a military convoy. Uh-huh. Yeah. They bombed the KLA, which was ostensibly their allies. Why? It was like, well, why not? That's how the United States is just the most obvious current example of that, because it's just all about chaos, right? That's why they fund every side of a military conflict or whatever, right? Like, you know, the United States was sitting on the sideline during World War II, and this kind of, you know, makes it to my point. You know, so Nazi fucks are like, let's just, you know, murder everybody, and then, you know, even our own, you know, that we allegedly care about. But then, you know, the United States is sitting on the sidelines selling guns and whatever to everybody, including the Nazis, tell the Nazis are losing. And then it's like, you know, they do the Half-Life 1 strategy of, like, waiting for the aliens and the grunts to duke it out, and you just come in and, like, mop up the leftovers, right? So once they see the Nazis are losing, now they want to get involved in the war. And it's like, man, we totally won that. It's like, no, you sat around waiting for it to win itself, right? And then show up and stick a flag in it or fucking whatever. And I said, these humans don't give a fuck about anything. Humans aren't concerned with morality. They're concerned about what they can get away with. You know, it's like this video I watched on cops, like how you're not supposed to talk to the cops and whatever. It's like, all right, you know, first of all, dude, I promise you that video doesn't matter. You know why? Because the moment, first of all, you know, they don't read you Miranda until after they've gotten everything that they feel makes a case against you. And you're actually, it's against the law for you to not say anything during their initial questioning, right? So you don't get to plead the fifth until after they've read you Miranda, but they don't read you Miranda until they've got everything they need, right? And if you refuse to say anything when they first pull you over, now that's their, you know, so, you know, a cop is allowed to just decide that, you know, they have a right to kidnap you because, you know, reasons or whatever. It doesn't matter what you say, all right? But you know, you watch the video on that, and they have a motherfucking ex-cop on there that flat out says, oh, we're allowed to lie. Yeah, we can lie to you. We can trick fuck you into doing something to get you sent to prison or, like, whatever. You know, it's like Pol Pot or, you know, or, like, whatever. Things, you know. Oh, yeah, tell them that they can criticize the government so we know who to kidnap and torture, right? Well, what they do in the United States, you have freedom of speech. It's like Todd Howard, right? It's like you can do everything, and then you get the game, and it's like you can't do anything, right? You have freedom of speech, yeah, and then you say something that's like you're not allowed to say that, and now you're in prison or fucking dead. As I said, the United, like, the most totalitarian regime on earth could never dream of the psychotic paradigm that the United States has created. Dude, I promise you, if you live in the UK right now, you're freer than motherfuckers in the United States, all right? I'm not even going to get into it too much right now, I'm about to wrap this up. So I had two phones. I started recording with this phone because the other phone I had, the battery swole up. So I just turned it off and just set it to the side, say whatever, I'll deal with it later. Okay. Well, this phone, which is the phone that when I was in Atlanta a couple years ago, I paid like $100 or whatever to get the screen fixed because I, dropped it. Because the guy even told me, is like, you really want it. It's like this thing is set up exactly how I want it. It's easier for me to just get the screen replaced. He couldn't even find a screen. He just had to buy another of the fucking phone and just put the screen off the new one on the old one, right? Okay, well, this one, now its battery is swole up. So I noticed it's swole up, and I guess it makes sense because I was smelling this weird smell, and I put my other phone up that I already knew had a bulged battery. Like I put it in like a glass mason jar with a metal lid, just kind of, if it did catch fire, I got a chance to like take it and fucking throw it out the window or whatever. But also just, if the battery off gases, it's kind of inside that, and I can just like take it outside and just air it out occasionally. Because I just wanted to keep a hold of it till I could get the battery replaced. Well, I started smelling that again, and I actually originally thought that I was smelling the other one, like the lid on the jar I had in wasn't on all the way. Because a mason jar, glass and metal, those are vapor barriers. You shouldn't be able to, if something's actually sealed up properly, you shouldn't be able to smell anything. Well, I kept smelling that, and then I realized this motherfucking phone that I'm recording this on, its battery is swole up. So I ended up, I looked it up, and on both of these phones, it actually, it wouldn't be that difficult to replace the batteries, but, I had to order the batteries for both, and, I gotta wait to get them so I can replace them. But with this one, this is the one that I like really use. And so part of the reason I'm glad I had a good workout tonight, and part of the reason I kind of did a super rant on this one, is kind of like a temporary going away present, because I really do not want to lose this phone. And so basically, chances are after I get done doing this video, there won't be anything more like this for a while. There won't be any more gym lifting videos for a while, because I got to wait to get the new battery for it to replace the battery in it. And, I'm seriously considering, because I mean, like right now, especially because I haven't really even used it for like a week now. I've only charged it once in like a week. I'm trying, I try to use it as little as possible and put it on, low screen brightness, turns off in 15 seconds, don't really use it at all, to try to preserve it until, I get the new battery to be able to put in it. But where I've been using it tonight, I mean, it's the smell coming off it is just god awful. And not only that, it's actually toxic. It's like legit poisonous, right? Yeah, that's what new Hitler would do. Just toss them in a room with a bunch of smartphone batteries, right? Whatever. But so after I do this, I'm seriously thinking about just turning the phone off and, basically not turning it on again until I get the new battery in it. In fact, what I might do on top of that is turn it off, let it sit for a while to kind of chill out or whatever, and just go ahead and take the battery that's in it out. And I'm sort of wishing it was like how it used to be. This one phone I actually had multiple different models of it back in 2018 or whatever. It was a Samsung J3, and then I had a J3 Achieve. I think they're different, but that phone, I love that phone. It had a physical home button. It's like now you use Grindr or whatever, or Tinder, fuck you. No more hardware home button. So, when the ad pops up, you better hope you get to the long press quick enough to be able to swipe up to the home screen or whatever. They did that shit on purpose to force fuck you with ads, right? But that thing and my original, my Google ZTE Speed, my first ever smartphone in 2015, they had physical home buttons. But the thing that they had that I wish phones had now, Like even Androids don't have it anymore. None of them, like this one and any other one I can find, doesn't have a removable battery anymore. Like not even Androids have it. Can't get a removable battery anymore. And oh yeah, there's some that have it. You know, if you want to spend, you know, $600 whatever it is for some special phone and like part of it is having a removable battery, it's like, no, motherfucker, that used to be just what every $40 smartphone had, right? But thankfully, the ones that I have that I want to continue using, you know, as far as I can tell, removing and, you know, replacing the batteries isn't that difficult. Hopefully, removable batteries, you know, come back in style or whatever. And I still wish I had, you know, the, you know, Samsung Galaxy J3, but I can't find anything in a reasonable price range that's actually like relevant that has a removable battery. That's not, it's either too expensive or, you know, it's, you know, itself from 2018 or whatever, and so like it's useless, you know. But I don't know. My other one that I would normally record lifting videos and like these videos with, you know, the rant videos, you know, I found a video for it and it seems like it'd be easy enough. And then I can't find any video like this phone that I like really use. It's like my main phone that I'm using right now. It like, there's basically like nothing on the internet for it. I can't find a single video on it for replacing the battery. However, I don't know. I think it, from what I can see in certain videos and just like looking at it, actually, I think it should be easy. It should actually be easier than the other one, because I forgot when I was trying to look this up. I forgot that this phone, whenever I first got it, you actually have to unscrew, like you take the back plate off it, and then there's this, like you like put the SIM card in, and I totally forgot about that because I seen something where they were doing that, and I noticed that there's this like metal piece with a bunch of screws around the perimeter. And my guess is that's probably, you take that off and the battery's right there, right? And they got their little, you know, stickers on it to like prove you opened it or whatever. It's like, dude, this phone's like 4 years old, right? You know, like I'm not worried about voiding the warranty because there's no warranty to void, right? You know, it's, you know, that's long gone. So I don't know. So, you know, yeah, I guess one for the road or whatever. And unless I decide to try recording stuff like this just off my computer with Audacity or whatever, chances are this will be the last video like this for a while. And definitely it will be the last lifting video for a while. So I'm glad I finally managed to eke out, you know, that 160 3x6 on the clean to press. So yeah, not really sure what else to say on that. So I guess suck on my fucking man titties, bitch.